Introduction to HTML. In this lesson, we'll be introducing you to the environment where you'll be coding your own website and showing you some of the HTML code before getting you to start your own website. In this lesson, you will first state the purpose of HTML, by identifying some simple HTML tags, and finally you'll be creating your first website. So first we're going to look at stating the purpose of HTML. Now HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and what that is a programming language that is used to display a web page within a browser. Now a browser is obviously that application which allows you to actually browse or look up web pages on the internet. If you look at the picture on the left, you can see a picture of a website. Now that website has got headings in it, it's got paragraphs in it or written sections, it's got images in it, it's got lists in it. All of those things needs code to be able to display it, and you can see in the picture as an example of some of the code that might have been used to show part of that website. Now in order for you to write your own website, you need to visit a website. Now that website, which you logged into last week, is called repl.it. You signed up last week. This time we're going to log in. And when you are logged in, you need to look at you will see the coding environment shown below. Now this is what it looks like for me. However, depending on the device you are using, it could look different, particularly if you're on a mobile phone. However, it should still contain all the same components, and those components are as follows. There'll be a files section, and that's where the first file that's been created when you start a new file is, so in this case index.html, as well as two further files. When you click on one of those, in this case we have index.html selected, in the middle section this is where we would write the code for our website. If I wanted to run and see what my website looks like, I can click this run button, and that will actually show you what my website looks like, and it'll come up in this section on the right hand side of my screen where your website will display. If you wanted to see what your website looked like, actually if it was a proper web page, if you click on the button here, you can open it in a new tab. If you want to pause the video now, you can go and watch the video using repl.it, where it shows you how to get started and to set up this place where you are going to store your work, and how to first of all create that new file. Now you've seen how to log into REPL, we can now look at some of the tags that are on there and some of the tags that you'll be using for your own website. So first of all, what are tags? Well, tags are shown like this, and they each have an opening tag, and in most cases there will also be a closing tag. The way to determine the difference between them is a closing tag will start with a /. It'll always come at the end of the section. What tags do is let the browser know how to display what you put in the tags, determines how it will look. So that first tag that we have on our website is one that says doctype HTML. Now what that does is informs the browser that the document that we are writing, that it will see below, is in HTML, so it will know how to deal with it. Second tag we always write is HTML, and this will start our document. The first section you will see will be a head section. Now this gives the data about the HTML document. Now this section is not displayed on your actual website. We then have a title in our head section. Now this actually shows in the tab at the top of the web page. So it's not on the actual website, it merely shows what is on it creates a tab title. So that if, when you opened up the internet and you have several web pages displayed, then you can see which web page it belongs to. The next one, which we're not going to worry too much about at the moment, but this will link to a file where you can change the look and the feel of your web page. It's where you start adding things like colours. This will be looked at later on. And then we have a closing tag. So our head section is finished. There's nothing else at the moment that we want to put in there. So we close it before opening our next tag, which is our body section. Now this is the main content of your website. This is what is going to be displayed. And the most important thing to start with would be a heading. Every single website will have some kind of heading at the top of their page. Now headings are labelled from H1 all the way to H6. H1 being the biggest and H6 being the smallest, and they are predetermined size. They can be changed later, but we'll look at that in a different lesson. But to start with, you can use those to determine each size. The next one is a P for paragraph. Now paragraph is simply where you can write a block of text which will start on a new line every time you create a new one. So obviously if you think about when you write, say, a piece of work, you would start a new paragraph even when you have a different section to write about. BR is used for a line break. Now this can be used in a sentence to start another part of a sentence on a new line, or it can be used to create a blank line. Now note, BR does not have a closing tag. Because of its function, a closing tag is not needed. Now we've got two here, which is UL or OL. Now what those do is either create an unordered list, which is UL, which would create a bullet pointed list, or an ordered list, which would be for a numbered list, writing something in order. In both of those, you will need to use the tag LI. And this would be used to list each item that you want to put in the list. So each item that you list here will have to have an LI in the front and a //LI for closing in the end of the line. And you can create multiple items in a list by doing that. Obviously then we've got the end of our list with a closing tag for both. Finally, we need to make sure we've closed all of our other tags that we've opened, in this case our body tag to end the main body section. And finally, as we're ending the document, we need a /HTML. Note, doc type HTML does not have a closing tag. You may now go and watch the video which will show you how you can write some of these in REPL. Pause the video now and go and watch that video. You are now going to create your first website. Now the task is going to be to create a website about the Super Mario Brothers. Now to do this task, you will need to do some research on the World Wide Web. For the developing level, we're asking you to first of all use a H1 tag to add a heading to your website, remembering what the website is all about. We're then going to ask you to use a P tag to add a written section on the description of the Super Mario Brothers. This is where your research will come in useful, so you can find out all about them. You're then going to use a second P tag to have a written section on the history of the Super Mario Brothers. Moving on to secure, you're now going to use a H2 tag to add subheadings for the following sections of your website. You'll have a description, history, characters, and games. Obviously, in the developing section, you've already done a description and the history. In character section, you're going to write a bullet point list of the characters in Super Mario Brothers. And then finally, in the games section, I'd like you to write a numbered list of 5 games in the Super Mario series. Moving on to mastered level, 2 tasks for you. You must change the title in the head section to a title of your choosing relevant to the website content. And finally, I need you to add at least 2 line breaks in your website. Now remember, that can either be used to start a sentence on a new line beside one of your paragraphs, or it can be used to create an extra line on your website. When you have finished and you've tested your website out, you need to take a screenshot or photo of both your code that you have written and how your website looks after running that code. And that picture can either be on the section within REPL or can be on the separate tab after you've run it there. Both of those pictures will need uploading to ClassCharts. You pause the video now so you can go away and complete those 3 tasks. Finally, you now have an exit quiz to complete. You will find a link to the exit quiz on ClassCharts. When you have completed your exit quiz, you need to take a screenshot and upload your score to ClassCharts. So remember, to complete this lesson, you have to upload a picture of the code for your website. You need to upload a picture of your actual website after you've run your code. And finally, you need to upload the score from your exit quiz. All 3 will have to be uploaded to complete the work.